Road to the White House coverage now as we take you live to South Carolina for a campaign rally with Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump.
Thank you, everybody. Wow. So nice. This is called real country. Look at this. Look at these people over here. Wow. So, you know, to have the endorsement of these two very rich, very powerful, but really wonderful gentlemen. These are really wonderful gentlemen. Get back up here. Come here. Come here. What gentlemen? And they got some money, don't they, huh? They got some money. I'm looking at that equipment. They got some. That's good. So it's so important. The getting out to vote is just so important because our country's been taken away from us. It's going so fast. And, you know, you talk about Second Amendment because I was asking with Randy and a lot of people. I was talking to some of the people before, what would you like me to focus on? And they said, just Second Amendment, Second Amendment. Now, Second Amendment means a lot of other things, too.
This weekend, the C-SPAN Cities Tour, hosted by our...
Is under siege. You know that very well. We lost a great Supreme Court justice, and nobody thought this was going to be part of the equation. And all of a sudden, if somebody gets in that's the wrong person, they'll take that Second Amendment away so fast your head will spin. You see, Bloomberg is somebody that wants to knock out the Second Amendment. Hillary is a disaster on the Second Amendment. They want to take it away. So it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And you have to get out and vote. So important. But when we lost our wonderful justice, who was a great man and a great Second Amendment person, I just heard coming up, you know, the senators, we've been very disappointed. I'm a Republican. Many of you are Republicans. But we're not being protected. Whether it's a budget, you saw the budget that was approved a month ago. It's approved by the Republicans. They gave it away. They gave Obama everything. So Obama wants to put in a Supreme Court judge. And the judge that he wants is going to be a very negative person to guns, because that's the way it is, okay? Believe me, that'll be the way it is. And basically, they don't have the right to do that. But I keep saying, well, are the Republicans going to fail? Are they going to crack? What's going to happen? And coming up today, I'm hearing, well, there could be a way of Obama pushing it through. Here we go, right? Here we go. Same thing you heard with Obamacare. It's going to be defeated. It's going to be repealed. We're going to repeal and replace Obamacare, believe me. But, I mean, look at what's going on with your premiums. 35, 45, 55% up. Your deductible is so high. I mean, you've got to see that truck right there. You got to get hit by that truck in order to ever use it. So I come up and I'm hearing that Obama now, who said, by the way, yesterday, Donald Trump will not be the president. He will not be. No, it's a compliment. Look, he's been perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States. So it's a compliment. But he was all over the place yesterday saying Donald Trump will not be. I think we have maybe a little surprise in store. And we start right here in South Carolina. You know, New Hampshire was so amazing. We had a big, big victory in New Hampshire, amazing people. And then we come down here and I said, you know, I think we have an even bigger lead over here. And the people have been incredible no matter where we go to speak. Even this, I know that 4 years ago you had about 200 people here for the same kind of a thing for your front runner. And he's a good front runner and a good guy, and he did well. But you had 400 people, 200 people. You have thousands of people here, and we just appreciate it, and I won't forget it. Believe me, I'm not going to forget it. I'm not going to forget it. So I hear that they're talking about trying to get a liberal judge in, a judge that does not like the Second Amendment, a judge that, this is one of many, but a judge that does want to do a number on the guns, and I know how important it is. We're just not going to let it happen, okay? It's not going to happen. And if we get elected, we know that. But we have 9 months, 10 months to go. We have to have the Republicans hold fast, because I'm just hearing these little cracks saying, well, maybe if you appoint somebody, maybe we can get along. Maybe. It's not the way it's supposed to be. Now, it's possible that they'll have their wish, because if they win, they're going to be having their choice. But if they don't win, we're going to start really taking back, because we have 3 or 4 or 5 maybe Supreme Court judges. This was not supposed to be one in question. This was a very sad circumstance that happened with, I mean, really, to me, it was a very sad circumstance. But now we're going to see what happens. I will only tell you this. We are doing well. We have a really good chance to win. If we can win in South Carolina, we're going to go. I mean, we could very well run the table. And I don't know if you saw. I guess a lot of you have seen, actually, next week in Nevada. It's going to be phenomenal. The relationship there and to the people. Yeah, Bush has got, that's right. Bush is 1% in Nevada. This guy, why doesn't he just give up? Just go home. Go home. Go home to mom. Got to go home to mommy. Yeah, Bush is only at 1% in Nevada. A couple of them are, at 10, 11, 12, and I'm at like 40-something, 48. So I think we're going to do well. Then we have the SEC. We're going to have the SEC, which is going to be, I think, amazing. But it really now is starting. New Hampshire could not have been better. They gave us a tremendous send-off. They really started us on our way. And we did well in Iowa. I mean, some votes were stolen from Ben Carson, which, by the way, was a disgrace. What this guy Cruz did with Ben Carson was an absolute disgrace. What he did with he stole. It was theft. And then they come out with a voter violation form, which is a fraud, as far as I'm concerned. And what he did with that whole thing was a disgrace. So we're not going to let that stuff happen anymore. I mean, we're not going to let it. We will not let it happen. We're all watching. You're all watching. Keep your eyes wide open. These politicians, here's a guy, he raises the Bible, and yet he tells fibs, he tells lies, and then he does the stuff to Carson, and he does other things very bad. So politicians are bad people. Boy, they are bad. Would you believe it? So we're not going to let it happen, and we're going to get in there. And I just want to say, so Saturday, go out and vote, because this is going to be the place that's going to really make it. And honestly, I've been watching all the pundits. Now, the bad news is they're always wrong. They all said, I'm not running, and I ran. Well, how is he going to do? And he's just doing it for fun. I'm not doing this for fun. Believe me, I love this location, but I know I could be someplace else, okay? I could be someplace else right now. I could be very happy. But I'm doing it because, the expression, and I see all the hats in the audience, make America great again. We are going to make America so great. We are going to win again. We don't win very much. You're very tough, smart people. You like to win, right? This guy over here, you like to win. And we don't win anymore. We used to win. We don't win anymore. Well, we're going to start winning again. We're going to start winning again. So, Second Amendment protected. Common Core. We're going to end Common Core. We're bringing your education locally. It's going to be fabulous. I don't know if you know, and you've heard me say, we have the absolute worst. We spend number one in the world on education, right? Number one per pupil in the world. There is no second place because we're so high, so much higher. You have China, you have Norway, you have Denmark, you have Sweden. You have these countries are the best in terms of education, and they're on the list, the best. Number 30th in the top 30, we're number 30th, okay? We're number one in cost. That's a little bit like what I'm doing. I'm least spent money. I'm funding my own campaign, right? So I don't have a lot of the people coming to me, the drug companies and all because if you would see the kind of waste, fraud, and corruption in the United States, a lot of it isn't really waste, fraud, and corruption. It's the fact that people that are running against me and people in the Senate, people in Congress, they have tremendous power because they have people giving them unbelievable campaign contributions and their special interests, and they do what those people want. And that's one of the reasons our budgets are out of whack, the military's out of whack, the military orders equipment they don't even want, and the stuff they do want they don't get because the company that makes that equipment is like, it's not politically adept, and companies that really are, they make the equipment we don't want. It's going to all change because I'm not getting money from any of these people. I don't give a damn. I mean, we're going to do the right thing. We're going to do the right thing. We're going to do absolutely the right thing. I tell you a little story. So the drug companies, we are the largest purchaser of drugs in the world, the United States. We put more, which makes a lot of sense, I guess, but we purchase more drugs to make you better, drugs to make you better. Not the kind of drugs that come over the southern border, which we're going to end, okay? We're going to stop. We're going to build a wall, yep. Folks, by the way, we're going to build the wall, and who's going to pay for the wall? So you better believe it. We have a trade deficit with Mexico of $58 billion. And these characters come up, these politicians that I'm running against, you don't really think Mexico's going to pay for the wall? I said, absolutely, 100%. They said, how are you going to get Mexico to pay? And I don't want to go into it because they won't understand it. I mean, they have no concept of business. They have no, the $150 billion we gave to Iran. These people have no concept. We have a $58 billion trade deficit with Mexico, okay? The wall's going to cost $12 billion, maybe less. If I build it, it'll be taller, better, and less, okay? So you think of this. So they say, how are you going to possibly do it? They make so much money, plus we give them subsidy. They make so much money from the United States, it's going to be one of the easy things. And I don't know if you heard, one of the presidents or ex-president of Mexico held a news conference. He said, we will never, ever, ever pay for the wall. And the press called me. They said they will never pay for the wall. I said, who was it? Calderon. He's very nice, good guy. He said, tell him the following. The wall just got 10 feet higher. Got 10 feet higher. Yeah, they're going to pay for it. And I get along great with Mexico. The problem is, they buy apartments. I have hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of workers, Hispanics I'm doing great with. We have such an amazing relationship with Hispanics, and they're great people. The problem is the leaders of Mexico are too smart for our leaders. They're too smart. They're too cunning. You look at what's going on. It's unbelievable. The border is a disaster. It's a sieve. It's like people flow over. Not going to happen anymore, folks. People can come into our country, but they're going to come in legally. They're going to come in through a process. They're going to come in legally. So with trade, we're going to solve the trade problem. I don't know if you saw Carrier Air Conditioner announced 2 days ago they're moving to Mexico. Nabisco, they're moving their big plant from Chicago to Mexico. Ford, they're moving this massive complex. They're building $2.5 billion plant, and now they just announced they're building it bigger. I've been talking about this for 2 years. Yesterday, the Wall Street Journal, they announced they're building it bigger. In other words, they're doubling down. You know why? Nobody does anything about it. I'm going to do something about it. So I watched. Somebody said, what would you do about Carrier? Because that was a sad case. Somebody used their cell phone, and they would tell them, you're out of work, you're out of jobs, forget it, it's over. We're moving to Mexico. And the people are crying. Grown men that have been there for a long time, really incredible people. And they're crying, and they're devastated, and they lost their job. They've never had another job, and now this whole thing's moving to Mexico. And they said, what would you do? I said, tell you what I'm going to do. Because, they talk about free trade. I'm a free trader. But I say, if I put a tax on these characters, these, idiots, they're like stupid. They say, Donald Trump is not a true conservative because he taxed. We got to make, it's got to be fair stuff, folks. It's got to be fair. I'm a conservative person. Hey, I'm the most conservative on the border. I'm the most conservative with the military. Nobody's tougher than me. I'm the most conservative. We are going to make our military so big, so strong, so powerful. Nobody's ever going to mess with us, folks. We won't have to use it. I'm the most conservative on taking care of the vets. Our vets are treated horribly. We're going to take care of them. I'm the most conservative on Common Core. We're ending Common Core. I told you that, and we're moving it locally. And nobody is more conservative, and we call toughness, but nobody is more conservative on the Second Amendment. So all of these things. But with carriers, so they have in, and they're coming across, and they're going to build a plant and probably get some subsidies from Mexico. We probably even give them subsidies. They probably have the United States giving subsidies to move out of the country. That's how stupid it is, and that's how stupid we're run. So what happens is they say, what would you do? I said, very easy. We call them. We say, let's have a meeting. Here's the story, folks. You're moving to Mexico, congratulations. But if you don't say the United States, you're going to have a problem. But here's what you do. You want to move to Mexico, build your factory. It's going to be wonderful. Hire your people. They're not from the United States. All those people are now looking for jobs, and those are good jobs. We're hiring a lot of part-timers now. We're hiring, and the numbers are totally phony, the 5%, totally phony numbers. So I say, here's what we're going to do. Very simple. You build your plant in Mexico, enjoy yourselves, and you're going to sell air conditioners and just have them cross the border and sell them to the United States? No, you're going to pay a 35% tax on every air conditioner. It's true. It's the only thing you can do. And you know what? It's the only thing you can do. There's nothing else, because otherwise how are you going to get them to stop? And then you have the devaluations with China, the all-time. They're like grand chess masters or these people are the greatest in history. They're grandmasters of that, devaluation. They devalue their currency. Japan's doing very well, too. They're killing Caterpillar. They're ordering Komatsu tractors now because they've devalued the... you take a look at what's happened to the yen. And it's very hard. A friend of mine, he's a big excavator. You all know excavators. I love excavators. This guy's a very big one. He buys Caterpillar tractors all the time and excavators. He just put in a big order for Komatsu. Not that he wanted to. He said, Donald, they made it impossible for me not to buy. They've devalued the yen to such an extent.